here in California. No sunshine today. And let's see.
What's your phone?
Okay. So can you make it where I can see if anybody comes on or no?
You just better start talking like they're there.
I wanted to talk about mental health awareness. I wanted to talk about a lot of things, but I wanted to talk about mental health awareness, being that it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's been coming to the forefront a lot with people, and people are more willing to talk about it and put it first, and it's not there. People aren't carrying so much shame about it. Hey, Carrie, how are you? I love you. Thanks for coming on. And so, hey, Coach Howe, I wanted to invite you, Coach Howe, and invite you on here to talk, but we don't know how to do it. You know how they'll say invite someone to talk, but we're going to figure that out one day because we think that'd be funny. Yeah, technical issues. So can everybody hear me? Jamie got sick at the last minute. I think she had been sick, feeling under the weather all morning. And I sent her home because I don't think it's cool to make someone work through that. And you got to pray it's just a little stomach issue, hopefully. And she needed to go home. Hi, Connie. I love you. I was wondering how you guys feel about mental health and if you guys have faced any stigmas about it. And if you guys can write some questions about it or some comments about it, I'll read them. And also, if you grew up with any mental illness in your family, and how that affected you and how you find it different today. And then I wanted to talk about, let's see what else we could talk about.
Open up the floor.
Huh? We can, the floor is open to talk about anything. We were having a lot of laughs this morning talking about the Kardashians' butts. Do you guys like the Kardashians' butts?
No.
And how Kent does not. And how long does it take them to get ready for sex? And he thinks that they would be very boring sexually because they'd be so worried about how they look and stuff. Do you guys ever think about that kind of stuff?
All the time.
All the time. And so
Like right now.
Kent said all the time. And then has anyone watched the Michael Jordan documentary? I heard that it's been amazing. And I think on Sunday they're going to show all 10 episodes at once. And apparently it was the greatest thing ever made. Kent had written, because of the COVID, if they could show it early, I guess a lot of people are on the same page as him and they are showing it early. And apparently he's a nice guy, and he didn't have that reputation as being a nice guy because winning comes with a cost, and he got a reputation as not being a nice guy. And when he was asked that question, I guess it was one of the first questions out of the box, he started to cry and say that winning and being that competitive came with a high cost. And also something that was cleared up is his dad was killed by two 18-year-olds, and not over some gambling debt or something like that. That was one thing that was rumored, because I lived in Chicago with Eric for 5 years when he played with the Bears, and that was like a rumored thing that his dad had owed money or something, but that's not true. And then let's see, what else did we want to talk about? How do you guys feel about everything reopening from COVID, being that nothing's really changed, yet everything's reopening? I know nothing's changed medically, like we don't have a vaccine, and I don't know if the numbers have gone up or down or whatever, but how do you guys feel about that? Like, do you just feel like, is it about the economy, or do you feel like, because it's not just taking out old people, it's taking out young people too. So do you just feel like they just don't want to see the economy keep on going like this, or what do you guys feel? So let me read if anybody has any questions for me. Let's see. Let's see. Let's say hi to everybody. Okay. Katie Nelson, hi. I don't know how to say your name, but you're from Australia. Do you know how to say that name, Kent? Kansanja? Kansanya? Carrie, I love you. Helen Green, hello. I love you, Coach Howe. Love you. Where's your wife today, Coach Howe? Janelle Kane, good morning from Arizona. Is it pretty in Arizona today? We have overcast today. Connie Orr, good morning. Love you. You're in Vegas. Is it pretty in Vegas today? Nicole Bernard. Sinesia. Hi, Sinesia. If that's wrong, correct us. Nicole Bernard, hi. Wendy Nielsen, hi. Andrea Maskins, hello from Brussels. Wow, that's impressive. Hello, J. Amber. Terry A., hi, y'all. MB, hi. Janelle Kane, love you, Marshawn. I love you too. Hello from North Carolina. Wendy Nielsen, PTSD, yes. Let's touch on peace. Someone just put, I just farted, laugh out loud. That is funny, but I can't hear you. So
Tell them again that Jamie's, people are asking again why Jamie's sick.
okay, Jamie had stomach issues today, and she was gonna try to fake it and do it, but she's 3 hours. I'm in California and she's in Atlanta, so it's 3 hours later for her. So it was just time for her to go home. She made it through the most of the day she could, and I didn't talk to her personally, but we're very, very close. So it was just a text, and I've canceled her on her last minute too. So we just work that way together. That if you don't feel good, yeah, if you don't feel good, why should you put yourself through that? And I decided just to come on and say hi anyways. Okay, so PTSD. Does anyone have PTSD that's watching? Someone's bringing that up. I never, let's see. Who just wrote PTSD? I was right there. Okay, Wendy Nielsen. Not to point you out, but I have severe PTSD, and I never understood what that was until I got it. But from watching war movies, you have an idea of what it is. But I guess I used to, when Griffin first transitioned, my son Dylan, that's here on Earth with me, said that I would scream in my sleep and like really loud. Like he even came in with the bat one time to help me because I was screaming, help me, help me. And he thought there was an intruder in the house. And I don't remember screaming or any of that. And another effect of it, and I don't know if depression, anxiety, and PTSD all are kind of married or linked together, but is being frozen and not being able to do just the simplest tasks. And adulting is very hard. And adulting is hard for me anyways, but add that all in and it's almost impossible sometimes. And I think that our world needs to talk about this like so much more openly, that you shouldn't have to lie and say, something's wrong with me, I can't come to work today. It should be, I have depression and I can't handle this today. If we have a broken ankle, we put a boot on it, but we don't put a boot on our head so you can't see it, you know? And I haven't talked to a mom that has lost a child that really wants to be alive. To be honest with you, it's a daily fight to stay alive. And I guess that would be PTSD or depression or whatever. And then the CTE and all that stuff from football definitely resembles PTSD, depression, bipolar, all of them linked together. And my mom said you have to be really careful about labeling people because it's not fair, number one. And number two, how do they know? You know, I mean, you shouldn't have to live under a label, and it's very dangerous to say, oh, you have bipolar, or you have I think they used to call it manic depression, or all these different things, because people just it's dismissive to say you're crazy or you're this. I think it's dismissive, and that we need more compassion in the world, and that's what we lack. The last thing you need to do is make fun of somebody or gossip about somebody that has depression and or PTSD or whatever. So okay, so Janelle, let's see.
How does your PTSD manifest itself, Marsh?
Sleeping. I can't sleep without aid. If I don't use Benadryl, Xanax, or anything I can find to sleep, I won't sleep. I'll come up with the sun almost always.
It's all from Griffin dying.
All from Griffin dying, yeah. Before Griffin died, I had depression, but the PTSD was after Griffin died. And it is like you went to war, because I know Griffin died, even though I like to say transitioned or went home before me, because we're all just walking each other home. And I know he's not going to walk through that door. I'm not delusional, but it's almost too big to comprehend to say that he's dead and I'm never going to be with him again because I have a relationship with him. He just doesn't have his skin suit anymore. I talk to him all the time. We talk about him all the time. I ask him to help me. Me and my son talk about him. I talk with other people about him. It's like he took on a different role in my life. Of course, he can't physically be here, but imagine how frustrated he feels to enter a room and not get acknowledged. He told me that before.
You feel like losing a child is the worst thing possible?
Yeah. I've argued with Griffin about this, that I've not been through anything else. So in all fairness, I'm not saying someone hasn't gone through something worse than me, because, hey, but for me, I don't think losing a child is doable. And I've argued with Griffin about this, that when I go home, I'm going to talk about this, that there needs to be a come to Jesus meeting. First, I'm going to punch him in the face, because suck him in the nose, because I feel like losing a child is just not doable. I've not.
The natural order.
Yeah, it's just not the natural order of things. And I feel like I just haven't been the same person since I lost my son. I mean, you'd be worried about me if I was the same person, but I think people think that there should also be a timeline on it, and that I should be over it and go on. And I lost a lot of friends over it, which, I guess is bound to happen. And I've had some really ugly things said to me, and
people want your life to go on.
Yeah, they miss me, they miss the Marshawn before Griffin passed away, and I get all that. But I'm never going to be that person again. I'm different, and I definitely don't have a filter anymore. That's gone, completely gone. I already kind of flirted with that, because we come from a loud, we might as well be an Italian family. We're very talkative. My dad was a philosopher. My mom was very talkative, and we were always laughing and talking in my household. And so that's no different, but it's just, I'm not as afraid to say things. And I try to keep I tried to make a rule in my life, and it's a weird rule, but see if you can make it in yours. And it's not an excuse to be a bitch or rude, but try not to say anything about anyone that you wouldn't say to their face, no matter how ugly it is. Okay. And I try to do that. And that's changed in my life, because I used to wouldn't say the way I really felt. And sometimes my mom used to say to me, I worry about you, Marshawn, because you don't know how to give the world a bird when they deserve it. And you don't have a very good poker face. And I understand that more and more as I get older, that. And I also understand another thing she said was, the older she got, the less she was sure of, and the more she was willing to listen. And I feel that way too. Because you know how when you're a teenager, God, if all my problems hit me when I was a teenager, I would have solved everything because I knew everything. But as I get older, I realize that I don't know anything, and I'm open to listening to everyone and everyone's experience. Oh, your wife's sleeping? Wake her ass up. Did you stay up all night, Coach Hal? What else was I going to say? And I've met some beautiful people on here, like amazing people. And I want to tell you guys that you've saved my life. And, oh, where's Jamie Amora? She's sick to her tummy. So she went home under strict orders. It was either that or she'd do the interview from the toilet, which I almost kind of made her do that. But I was like, God, Marsh, that's kind of rude, That's really, that's really just thinking of myself, like, here's Jamie on the toilet. I mean, it would have been some nice sound effects, maybe. But yeah.
She's gonna kill you.
Well, it's been happening on Zoom.
Yeah.
The classroom where people.
Oh yeah, on Zoom. They forget that they're on Zoom in the classroom and they go to the bathroom. Oh yeah, we saw that one girl, huh?
What happened to that comedian?
Yeah, exactly. And what was I going to tell you guys? And it was going to be fun talking about aliens today. If you guys want to say anything about aliens, I can't really answer anything except for my own personal experience of what I've had answered for me. I can share that with you.
With Jamie a lot about it.
I've talked with Jamie a lot about it. My sister was overly obsessed with talking about it, and I was listening to some old tapes recently when we just used to record and go on Zoom, and I wouldn't put it up. She's fascinated by it. Like Cy loves sage, my sister. So Cy was around since I don't know, whenever we started talking to Jamie in 2000, the tape I was listening to this morning was 2015. It was Psy. And he's the one that I got in an argument with, because he said that I enjoy being human more than I enjoy being an alien, because being an alien doesn't have enough drama for me. So I told him to fuck off. But I mean, lately I'd go for no drama for sure. And then let's see what else. Yeah, Terry A. My brother committed suicide due to depression, mental illness. Sucks. Terry A. How old was your brother? And have you ever watched Channeling Eric? And when my ex Eric Kramer tried to take his life, Eric Medhus came to the reading. It was Sage and I've got to look for that tape. And thanked us for having a sense of humor about it and stuff, because yeah. Oh no, I don't know. Does she think that he had CTE?
No, I'm talking about Eric.
Oh yeah, I think my ex has CTE from football. I know he does. Just call me Dr. Marshawn. He does. Okay.
Well, you can't tell.
Well, they say you can't diagnose it till after death, but I think you should be able to diagnose it if you live with someone for almost 30 years.
Yeah,
He has it, and I watched him.
Like car accident.
Yeah, and I was with him since I was 17, and I watched a complete total shift. Look, marriage is a hard gig. I'm not saying I was a perfect saint, but I watched a man change completely. And I didn't know what it was. And so when the movie Concussion came out, I felt like I saw God before my time. And it gave me the reasons why what happened in my home happened. It explained everything. Like, if I could meet Dr. O'Malo, I would bow down to him, because he explained to me what happened in my house. Yeah, totally. Yeah, Connie Orr, Melissa, I love you. I can see your light. Thank you. I wanted to ask Jamie if that was your dad's orb. I'm sure it is, but we'll ask her next week. And then, if you have all three, do you, Amora Blessing, do you have all three, PTSD, depression, and anxiety? I do. Do you have all three? I would say that they're kind of married. Yeah, friend Carrie Birdsley, paralyzed and being shamed for it. Yeah. You know how many times I've had to lie and say I don't feel good? Now I just say I'm in bed. I'm like really honest about it. I don't want to. I don't feel like it. No. I don't want, and I don't think you should have to lie about it. I scream and bite in my sleep, Coach Hal. Yeah, you definitely have PTSD and CTE. And I also cannot be in a large group of people, or I'll freak out and get violent and start fighting them. God, I have a list of people I wish you could come fight, Coach Hal. I'm not playing. I mean, but I get you. I feel you. A lot of people can't be in large crowds.
Do you feel like the original trauma confuses you when you have normal stress in your life? Do you think sometimes that it seems worse than it normally would because of the trauma?
Yeah.
It's just like a big wound, and it always goes to the same place.
Mm-hmm. I think that honestly, that sometimes I'll get mad at things, and if I was really like Zen or whatever, because and I would reflect on it, it has to do with my son's death. It doesn't have anything to do with the person that I'm going off on or getting angry at. If I'm honest with myself, and when the dust settles, I definitely, after Griffin died, they put me on so much medication. I was Elvis. They gave me something to wake up, to smile, to go to sleep, and so I was on Adderall for quite some time. And I do have ADD, in case you haven't noticed, but I'm not in school, so there's no reason for me to be on it. But they gave it to me, and I used to have like exceedingly low blood pressure, to the point where they would say, do you know why you're here? You should be more upset. Well, then I got blood pressure 225 over something, like where they give you medicine right now, like you should be stroking. And I think that was from the Adderall. But my point is, where was I going with that, Kent? Why?
Well, you're talking about PTSD.
Yeah. So they gave me all that because, then I asked the guy, the psychiatrist, I said, would I have ever gotten out of bed without all this medication? And he said, and I'm not on that amount anymore, but he said, you would have, Marshawn, but it would have been years and years. So it was just to get out of bed was the Adderall. What else? Have you guys ever seen the movie Thank You for Your Service? If you've never seen that movie and you have someone that you love that has served in the Army or United States in any way or in war, you should watch Thank You for Your Service, because it's one of the most profound movies I've ever seen on the topic of PTSD and what they go through after they come home. And it's kind of like I could relate with it so much because um, after the death of of a child, you want the world to stop. And it's like the world keeps on going, and you come home, and like if you've been to war, you're going through something. I'm still getting the horn honked at me because I'm not going through the light soon enough, and I'm not moving fast enough for people and stuff like that. But my mind is somewhere totally different, like people that come home from war. I guess that's what PTSD is. That's the way I experience it. Like with the COVID stopping and shutting down is kind of what I wanted to happen when Griff died. I was like, how dare the world go on? It should stop, you know? You want that feeling like everything should stop, but nothing stops, and no one really cares. Like they're like, it's time. They care for a little while the drama is going on of the funeral and that kind of stuff. But when the silence hits and it's just Marshawn by myself and my son, nobody really cares except for Jessie. Called me every day, and she's just a kid. Like, I think people like the action of the drama, you know?
Do you remember when Griffin died, how it's like you're trying to grieve, but you end up being there for everybody else first?
She still does that.
Yeah. When Griffin died, I got my hands on some Xanax. I don't want to tell you how much, but I should probably be dead. I pretty much got my hands on anything I could find. And so it was like it felt like a reception or something, even when they were viewing his body, like I was having to say hi to everybody. And it was all kind of a blur. Like
People bring food by.
Yeah, people bring food by. His football team came by, and so you're doing all that. Where I'm telling you, it is important to show up. I did learn that. Like I loved people showing up, because if you waited for me to respond, that was never going to happen. You have to just show up, and if you think that's rude, it's not. Just show up. But is something to be said for showing up a little bit after all the hula has gone on, like the funeral's over and the dead quiet time. But I've been blessed in the sense that I've had a lot of dear friends stay with me, and made new friends and stuff, and people that I can be honest with. The hardest part about PTSD and depression and anxiety for me, and I was talking to Kent about this the other day, is I hate how mean I can be.
Me too.
He does too. I can be a bitch in about 2 seconds. And I know it's just hurt and it's pain. And I wish they had a pill for that, because I can level a village with my mouth sometimes. And I know that my spirit guides are working on my mouth, and they're probably drinking and giving up by now, because when I get frustrated or I'm sad, and if you hurt me, I want to hurt you back. Like, rare. It's just an automatic reaction. And I don't know about you
Were
guys.
you like that originally?
I don't think so.
Not to the degree.
Not to this degree. No. No. But always in my life, I was one of those people that when I needed to tell somebody off and they said something mean to me and I said something back, I've never felt like I did it right, because I've always had to go clean it up, and it was their fucking fault to begin with. Well, now it's even worse, because I'll tell you in a second to go fuck yourself. Like, and I don't care, and I don't know. Some of it's good. Like I used to wish I was a New Yorker, because you envy that they can say that, and it doesn't seem like there's any backlash from that. But when I tell someone off, I always feel like I've got to clean it up, even if they deserved it. But I don't like how mean my depression has made me. Like if they had medication for that, I would take it for sure. Because I can't even believe some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth sometimes, to be honest with you.
Does it make you expect bad news all the time? Like
All the time. Yeah.
Like yeah.
All the time. Because Griffin lied to me about where he was and said he was with his girl at the time, a cheerleader at Thousand Oaks High School. And he was a good kid. He just wanted to fit in, and heroin is rampant around here. I've still never seen it in my lifetime. But one thing I never told my son, and I think it's important that all you parents hear this, is I never thought to tell my son that the people you're with may not help you. I didn't. I mean, I did blackout drunks when I was little and didn't realize that that's what that was called. But my friends took care of me, and and we've all taken care. If all of us, even watching now, if someone hadn't taken care of you at some point in your teenage years, or when you got drunk or something, where would you be? And they had over 4 hours to save him. The coroner told me, and what they did is so. I think that's a lot of my anger.
Yeah.
And
It was so unnecessary.
yeah, because it just didn't have to go down like that at all.
The bad thing had already happened.
Right. Right. And they all testified that he grabbed his heart and said that he needed help. Something's wrong. I need help. They all testified to that. And they drug him up by his feet up the driveway so bad that the county coroner for LA, and you know how much shit they see in LA, called me, Betty, and she said, Marshawn, did anything happen with him in football? Did he get hit or anything? Because we're going to have to cut him open because his back's so fucked up. It looks like foul play. And so just to know that he was treated that way and they went out and partied without him, then just left him in the room to die, and he had no control over his body.
It
just
the decision, like basically let him sleep it off.
Yeah, I don't know what their decision was, but they knew there was trouble. Griffin's told me in the afterlife it wasn't to sleep it off because they knew that he was in big trouble. They testified that he foamed all over their car, everywhere. That the kid had never seen that before. And
they just pushed him out of the car at Carl's Jr. and called 911.
Yeah. If they hung him from the local tree, he would have had a more chance of surviving. And the mom of the kid was right in the room next door, but she was used to hearing commotion, so she didn't get up. She may know more than I know. Nobody's ever come and apologized to me. Nobody of all the parents, of all the people, of the kids. Nobody's came and told me what happened in detail. Nobody. In all these years. And I found out later that there's one kid that Griffin was so looked up to because he got all the girls, knows more than I thought he did. And it's sad that they wouldn't reach this age now and think that they would want to tell me, you know what I mean? Like what happened, or say I'm sorry or something, but they know what happened. And let's see what else.
It's just still weird to me that kids are doing that drug. Like we were lucky to get really bad weed in Georgia.
Right. I grew up on Boone's Farm wine and cigarettes. That was being bad. And weed, if you got weed or whatever, but weed was never my thing, but it's legal here now. But what is it? What is it? He died? Heroin? Yeah, it's everywhere here. And now they put what's it called? Fentanyl in it. And when he was a baby, he almost died of flesh-eating bacteria and necrotizing fasciitis, which is flesh-eating bacteria, and from his umbilical cord. And he was allergic when they switched him to Children's Hospital. He almost died on the ventilator from fentanyl. So I was wondering if there was fentanyl in the heroin, because the coroner told me that young kids don't usually die of heroin unless it's a bad batch or something like that. And he wasn't, well, whatever, but So I don't know. They said no, that there wasn't, but they also told me there was nothing in the system. And I know for a fact I gave him Mucinex that day. He had a terrible cold. So I don't know. I don't know. And it doesn't bring him back. It doesn't really fucking matter. It just didn't have to go down like that. And no matter how sorry I feel for myself, he lost his whole life. I mean, he lost everything. He didn't get to say goodbye to his friends. He didn't get to go to his prom. He didn't get to go to his high school graduation, nothing. So every time I feel bad for myself, I try to remind myself, hey, wait a minute. Griffin lost everything. And that puts me in check a lot of times. And then maybe your sister wants to talk about aliens. Yeah. That's all she wants to talk about. What else what other questions are there?
See, Coach, Eric was hiding his change from you because he didn't know what was happening. He
Right,
didn't know why he acted the way he was acting. He
right,
was ashamed because it would make him look less masculine.
Right.
Horrible.
right. No, I believe that true. I believe, we went to so much marriage counseling and he went to individual counseling and they diagnosed him with bipolar and they put him on Risperidol for a while because he would have suicidal episodes and stuff. And looking back, as angry as he was at me and as bitter as we got towards each other, he didn't deserve what happened to him. And he doesn't even know that the love for a game caused that. And he won't know till he goes home. Um, and but he got verbally abusive and physically abusive and changed into a completely different person. And I think you're right, Coach Howe. He just didn't know. And it wasn't for not looking. Like, he went to so much therapy. I went to therapy. When he would have the suicidal episodes, he played for the Bears and the Lions. When it happened, they would put him on Risperidol and they would ask me to 5150 him, but I wouldn't. We'd bring my family in and watch him 24/7, because in that day, if your quarterback was suicidal, he'd have lost his job and you couldn't talk about mental issues like you can now, or can you now? We're starting to. Let's see. Any more?
There's a lot of comments.
Well,
You go
do it.
Take a look at your comments.
Okay.
You're going to talk about the quarantine. How's the quarantine affecting everybody?
Oh, how's the quarantine affecting everybody? Have you guys felt the energy? Like, especially people like me that are already homebodies and like to stay at home, the energy is even feeling weird to me. Like, it was heavy. And how do you guys feel about everything opening back up?
Well, how do you feel about
I feel like nothing changed, and I feel like it's that if you follow money, that you'll always find the issue, the problem.
it? Yeah.
And I feel like Georgia was one of the first ones to open, I guess. So we'll watch them and see if they close again. I think China opened and then they closed again, right?
I haven't kept up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Is Amora saying she's had all three since she was 14? I'm missing a comment, maybe.
More blessing.
I was wondering if she said that she's had all three, like PTSD, depression, and anxiety. Do you guys agree with me that they seem kind of married in some form or another? Yeah. After Griffin passed away, to sleep was like a major issue. It still is. Does anybody else have that issue too? Or is that just getting older? Because I can't buy sleep without help. Like, oh, what do you guys think? Let's talk about something really wild. I was thinking about doing this, and if I do it, I'm going to do a lot of research, you guys. But how do you guys feel about DMT? And have you ever talked to anyone who's done it? Have you ever talked to anyone who's done it? How do you feel about it? And do you feel like it resets your brain? DMT is a chemical that's released at birth and at death only. That's all I know about it.
And when women give birth.
and when women give birth. If I did it, I would go and do it in front of a doctor and be watched.
Why would you do drugs in front of a doctor?
Because I've overdosed before, and I'd be definitely be in front of a doctor. 1,000,000%. A million
Well, that's
percent.
good line, is a doctor in front of me.
Yeah, but she wants to make sure she's safe.
No, I want to
What
do
if she
it.
did it and it went wrong?
I don't want to do it to have fun. I want to do it to clean my mind.
It's not about that. It's just, it's doctor offices are such sterile environments. You want to be in a place where you're comfortable.
Or have a doctor come here or something to
Yeah.
where they're
Right.
I'm not saying don't be safe. That's not at all what I'm saying.
Right. Is it called, how do you pronounce it? Ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. Would you guys do that? Would you do it? Would you do DMT?
I wouldn't do ayahuasca.
If a doctor said it would
Does
clear
it?
your mind and it would get rid of your depression, da 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 da, would you try it? Or do you know anyone who's tried it? Or is it like a regular thing you have to do? Is it not a
I've done
one-time
DMT,
fix all?
But I wouldn't do ayahuasca.
What's the difference?
Too intense. But DMT is very quick. It is very intense, but overall, from everybody I've spoken to, it's mostly all positive experiences. It's over quickly, so compared to other psychedelics, it's not like you're strapped in. Like if it goes bad, you're not strapped in for 15 hours. It's like 5 to 10 minutes, and I mean, you can keep taking it. I know people that keep doing it, they call it blasting off again and again and again. But when I did it was weird because I was with a friend, and we both just started looking at each other laughing, and we're like, we've been here before. I just went to this ethereal.
Is this at
place.
Burning Man?
First time was at Burning Man, and then the second time was just in Los Angeles. And
So your feeling was like, we've been here before.
yeah, we were laughing. We couldn't stop laughing, and we're like, dude, we've been here before.
Right.
But the first time I did it, I was actually raised up outside my body, and I was watching. I was sitting in a group of people, and all of a sudden I was watching the whole conversation, but from about 30 feet above me.
Wow, like above your body,
Yeah.
like an outer body experience.
Exactly. They say when you get control of, when you get experienced and you get your sea legs under you, whatever, that you can actually start to control where you go. You can actually go places. And the second time I did it, I ended up in a place I could only describe as like, it'd be like if I was in the middle of, on top of a bunch of clouds with just light, but the kind of light where every color is present.
Wow.
And
Was it like acid, Ken, or no?
No, not at all. Not
Okay.
at all. Not at all like acid. I don't like
Was it out of control feeling?
No. It wasn't out of control.
How long is the high process?
5 minutes.
5 minutes?
10 minutes. Yeah.
What
And-
form does it come in? A pill, powder, what?
Yeah, powder. And you smoke it
Mm.
like you would. You smoke it like you would marijuana out of a pipe.
Mm.
And
Were you scared?
oh yeah, because I don't really like psychedelics, but
Is it considered
all
a
my friends only
psychedelic?
had good things to say about it, and they told me, you know, Ken, it will be over quickly. Like it's not like mushrooms or l.s.d. where you know you take it and there ain't no getting off the roller coaster.
Right. Were you scared though, because so much stuff is laced nowadays of what you were getting wasn't going to be pure? That would be my biggest fear.
No, I have good friends that I trust.
Right.
And you know, sometimes
Is it different than Molly?
No, not even the same kind of drug at all.
Okay, I didn't know.
No, Molly is a party. Molly's a party drug that people like to take when they dance. You know, like
Okay.
because you feel music more when you do Molly.
Is Molly the drug that used to be used by marriage counselors to bring marriages together?
Yes.
Yeah, because it brings down your walls.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, like in how l.s.d. was.
So is Molly
like,
ecstasy? Are those the same thing?
What's that?
Is Molly ecstasy? Are those the same thing?
Yes, terms for the same thing, but the scientific one is called MDMA when it's pure.
Mm.
Molly can actually be MDMA, but laced with it can be laced with anything. It can be laced with cocaine,
Fentanyl.
speed, not necessarily fentanyl, but it could be, or heroin. Yeah, because a lot of people do that to give you different experiences. But MDMA is just the pure form of it, and that's the one. That's the rave party drug. Like people take it and go dance all night.
I wonder why people lace things with fentanyl, because they think that's going to keep you coming back because it gets
they
you
wanna
higher,
they will get you addicted.
but it kills you. Yeah.
To get you addicted.
Right. And yes, to the question about my son, they pleaded and there was felony charges, but nobody served jail time, probation, and hopefully miserable lives.
Well, let
But
me just add. So I hear.
so I hear,
Sorry,
probably
I
maybe.
know all that personally.
I don't know. I don't lurk and I don't look. Oh,
I'm not a
can't.
drug addict.
Oh, I'm talking about Griffin, the charges, and you're talking about drugs.
Oh yeah. Well, no.
Well, both. We just covered both at one time. Let's see. What else? What else? Headaches and the energy. Headaches. Somebody gets headaches. I had headaches before I went on bioidentical hormones. I woke up with a headache every day. Every day. And bioidentical hormones are made of yams, and they're not cheap, but they're worth it. Big time. Let's see.
Someone's talking about how Joe Rogan.
I love Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan talks about DMT all the time.
Yeah. Has he done it a lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does he do it for depression or for the experience or what?
Both.
Yeah. The guy who well, I shouldn't be selling anybody out, but I was told
I
by
don't know all the reasons he does it, but I'm pretty sure that's why.
I was given a number by an acquaintance that a therapist does it in his office for him. I don't know if he does it once every 3 months.
One thing I was trying to tell you was when the second time I did it, it was literally like I went to a place that it was like I knew I had been there and I knew I'd be there again. And it wasn't on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. It was like it was so familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Like it felt like home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I just couldn't stop laughing. And I looked at my friend and I remember going, "We've been here before." And he goes, "I know, we've been here before."
Right.
And
it's like you're going in the afterlife.
And I knew that we'd be back. And I don't know where it was, but
right.
Maybe one day I'll see.
Yeah, it's probably the afterlife. The person, Terry A., that your brother committed suicide due to depression and mental illness, it sucks. I wanted to tell you something that, I don't pretend to know anything, but from what I've seen, and I asked you if you'd watched Derek Medhusen about my ex trying that and stuff, you know that the way you exit and the way you go home, there's no judgment. How they teach us here in church that if you commit suicide, you go to hell, you're in hell. Just so you know, this is the closest that I do know. This is the closest to hell you're ever going to get. And there's no judgment. I'm sorry your brother got pushed that far, but I hope he's in peace, and I hope we get to ask for him at a reading someday. I've never talked to a spirit ever that's not happier over there than they were here. Nobody, not one. So, other than the act of dying and how you're going to get there, like that scares humans, I guess, but I've never talked to one spirit that wasn't happier there. Not one. And most of them don't want to come back right away.
Oh, the other thing about DMT, that most of my friends. Oh, sorry. No, I just wanted to say the other thing about DMT that all my friends have agreed to is that there isn't. You don't experience a hangover of any type. In fact, if anything, I felt the most serene and calm I've ever felt in my life the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I was a Buddhist on top of a mountain.
You have a dad with Wendy Nielsen. You have a dad with ALS. So still scared. Okay. Did your dad play football? Because ALS is connected very much to CTE. The tau proteins dripping down the whatever, but it's connected. Look up Tim Green. He played with Eric. He has ALS, and yeah, that looks like a long, painful, scary death. I'd be scared too, but tell me more about it and we can ask Jamie and stuff. Yeah, I would rather get hit by a Mack truck at this point. than than any kind of long cancerous death. Um, what else? Let's see. Way too early to open in the USA. Yeah. How do you guys feel that are in other countries? Do we look dumb opening up so early?
Mhm.
It has to do with money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like the governor of Georgia got paid off.
I mean, I'm glad you got your hair done. I read that someone got their hair done, but not gonna lie, your hairdresser will send you your stuff. There were hairdressers sending stuff to people to do their own hair, and there are hairdressers that will let you sneak in their garage and they'll put some on for you, and you can come home and wash it. So, yeah. DMT is scary. Find something else. Okay.
That's fine.
Like I said, I would do extensive research. It's not like I'm just going to go try it as a guinea pig because I do have a child here, so I don't have that right to just go jump out of planes.
Jason Atkins says DMT was awesome.
He loved it. Yeah.
He said it's
I would imagine everything is different for everybody.
yeah. It,
Like I like Prozac. Some people like Zoloft. I like Xanax. Some people like Ativan. I don't feel shit on Ativan. I liked Norco. I didn't like Percocet. Percocet is worth so much more on the street than Norco. So everybody's chemistry is different. So maybe you didn't have a good experience with DMT. It doesn't mean that I won't or I will. I don't know, but I'll do some definite research if it could help with my PTSD and stuff. And Kent says it's only a 5-minute experience.
5 to 15.
5 to 15-minute experiences. I mean, I've had constipation worse than that. I can make it for 15 minutes.
Julie Davis.
Yeah.
Marshawn, Julie
Yeah.
Davis
Uh-huh.
is talking about microdosing mushrooms. She says it doesn't get you high, but it saves your life. I had lifelong despair, depression, anxiety, and complex PTSD. She says, I'm free now. Microdosing is when you take an amount of a psychedelic.
Right.
Usually, either some do it with l.s.d. or some do it with mushrooms, but you don't take an amount to get high. You
Right.
take a small amount.
I've been watching someone on TikTok. I'm not going to name any names, but she shows herself when she does mushrooms, and she does weed too, but I don't know if she does them together. And she looks like she's having fun on mushrooms and laughing and very light and stuff like that. And I'm like that if I smoke a hit of pot, but then I get paranoid, and that's what I don't like. And so I don't know. And I'm doing it. Would the mushrooms clean my head? Like, is it a reset? I want to reset, like how you hard reset your computer or your phone. And that's what I think DMT. If you only get that chemical when you're born and you die and you give birth, there's something special about that chemical. And if Kent said he had the feeling he had been there before, he said he thinks I might even see Griffin if I do it. Like see him.
It's possible.
It's highly possible. Let's see what else. And it's not in stone that I'm going to do it. I'm just going to look into it.
Yeah, you're just curious.
I'm just inviting myself to look into it. Like I invited myself to look into to mediums. I didn't even know what a medium was before Griffin transitioned. I thought it was going to be like Whoopi Goldberg and a fortune teller. I didn't know. I had no idea, you know. You don't know what you don't know until you know. What else?
Somebody says, I want to do that. Julie Davis said it was a total reset and she doesn't need it anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was thought that's the microdosing the mushrooms.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to know how it's affected people like soldiers or mothers with lost children or people that just can't, no matter what they do, reset their life, their depression button or their anxiety button or PTSD, whatever you want to label it.
Spirit Dragon said he can achieve all this travel and afterlife practicing astral projection. He said he met his grandfather and brother through doing that.
Right.
And it's just wonderful over there.
Someone did suicide after it. Yeah, I could see that. You got to be in the right headspace to do anything, you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing to play with.
Yeah, I'm not saying to go out and do anything because honestly, I can't even have a beer if I'm not in the right headspace. You learn that as you get older, that it doesn't fix anything. You have to be in the right headspace. And if I ever did anything like that, I would make sure that I wasn't taking anything to sleep for a long time and my diet was good, and I would make sure that I dialed in everything right. I wouldn't just go, let's do it like that. No. Let's see. Connie, ayahuasca makes you shit yourself. You're so high you don't care. That's funny. That's funny.
I heard you throw up when you take ayahuasca. I don't know much about ayahuasca, and I've only seen it in movies.
So ayahuasca, there's whole towns that do that. I've seen like rural areas. They make it like big soup and stuff. That is not DMT.
I know a girl who belongs to a church that's based around ayahuasca.
Okay. But DMT and ayahuasca are not the same thing.
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
I mean, they're similar. They're both psychedelics, but not the same.
That's awesome. But where do you get this shit? On the corner or on a reservation? I think you got to go on the dark web. I plead the fifth, but if I find out, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Carrie, the funniest thing is you can get anything you want in life. You just got to ask around a little bit, sometimes on the low.
I have a feeling your DMs are going to get really full.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, your husband does it every few months. Definitely change person for the better. Awesome. That's awesome. Well, I love you guys. I'm going to go take a walk, and I love everybody. Thank you guys. It's so helpful. You have no idea how much you've helped. Kent's doing the dance. And oh yeah, Michael Jordan. I love everybody. And let's see. I know, she's done, Amor knows many people have done ayahuasca.
Yeah.
It's deeply sacred.
Right.
I've seen shows where it, like the whole town does it. Like they make big old pots of it.
No, I know a girl. She says she belongs to a church that's an ayahuasca church. And
right.
They go out and they'll go out during the summer solstice or during the solstice, and there'll be a shaman there and they'll lead it, and it's a ceremony and they all do it together.
Right.
And the shaman guides you through the experience.
Yeah.
And it purges darkness from you, is what a lot of people believe,
I wanted to tell you, Encino, Carolyn W., my stepsister lived in Encino. Her 19-year-old son overdosed in heroin several years ago. I'm sorry. He was sold a deadly dose. Yeah. She lost her mind. Yeah.
Deadly dose of what?
Heroin.
Ah.
Ask for her son at one of the readings, and we'll bring him in and check on him for Jamie.
Will be back next week, right?
Jamie should be back next week. So there's something to tell you guys. I'm not the kind of person that would like to have a child naturally with no drugs, or think that, breathe and meditate and you'll be well. I'm all about feeling good, whatever that takes. I don't believe that one of my best friends is RN, and she explained something to me, and I'll leave it at this since it's Mental Health Week. We're born with, I'm going to give a layman's analogy. We're born with like tentacles like this. So picture an octopus in your brain with 5 tentacles reaching for that happy drug, whatever it's called, dopamine, oxytocin, whatever it is that you need to be happy. Because if you ever looked at somebody and it just pisses you off because they're happy, right? Or serotonin, right? So let's say I'm Marshawn and I'm only born with 4 of those octopus things, but nobody knows because they haven't looked at me under a microscope. So I'm looking at Kent going, why the fuck are you so happy? I'm trying as hard as I can. Like Mike, yeah, he wants to be like Mike. And I've only got 4 tentacles trying to pull that fucking happy chemical for me. And I'm looking at Kent coming from the same oven, the same mom, the same dad, happier than me naturally. And I don't understand. It's a constant struggle. So then I turn 18 and I go out on my own and life hits me. And I have a miscarriage. I did. And so one of the tentacles stops working because I'm upset about that. So I've got 3 tentacles when I was supposed to have 5 tentacles trying to do that work. Then I go and get married and I have Griffin and he gets sick with flesh-eating bacteria and almost dies. So then I'm yelling at the Taco Bell guy for not giving me enough napkins. Well, clearly that's not the issue. So my dad pulled me aside, said, I know you guys don't believe in pills and antidepressants and stuff, but Marshawn, you're not yourself. You're so angry. Just try, please, to take an antidepressant. If it doesn't work, you can flip me off. So I've got 3 tentacles working. And my grandmother would have said, dust your boots off and get up. What's depression? I don't believe in that word. So I take Prozac is what they gave me, fluoxetine. And all of a sudden, it's like someone cleaned my windshield wiper in my car. It wasn't magical. Like I wasn't like, let's party. But it was different. The feeling was different. I felt better. It was just, yeah, I felt more optimistic. It was like someone cleaned my dirty windshield wipers, my dirty windshield, and I didn't even know I was looking through a cloudy windshield. And so now maybe it resets my forward working, because it will never reset itself, no matter how much meditation, no matter how much diet, even though they're finding out that depression starts in the gut, which Griffin said sugar is the most addictive drug on earth, by far. But it has helped me. And I've been off and on fluoxetine for the majority of my life. And I like it because it's like Pampers. I don't feel the clicking that I've heard other people feel from Zoloft and stuff. When you don't take it, you don't feel it like that. It's got a very long shelf life. It's tried and true. It's old, it's classic, whatever. I don't believe in 20 milligrams, though. I believe 60 and up milligrams when they say start on 20. That's not going to help an ant. I'm sorry. But I just believe in doing what you can to help yourself. And I don't believe in big pharma, but I'm going to say that antidepressants also have saved my life. So we'll end it on that for Mental Health Awareness Month. And I love everyone. And I hope that if you're fighting anything today, as I used to tell my kids when I dropped them off from school, may you make someone's life easier today, and may someone else make your life easier.